Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, at this time, we will open the public portion.
Yes, Madam President.
Madam Clerk, we will not be adding anyone else to the public portion once we start.
Okay, ma'am. This time, the public portion is now open. Our first speaker is Mr. Rucker. Mr.
Madam
Ernest
Clerk, how
Rucker.
many speakers do we have?
10, 17 speakers.
Okay. Madam Clerk,
Yes.
if we call a name and they're not in the chambers, we will continue with the next.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Rucker, please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Ernest Rucker, Paterson, New Jersey. Last night at Kennedy High School, I was able to hear some of the plans concerning the Hinchcliffe Stadium project. What jumped out at me, and I did have a conversation about this earlier with a friend of mine, but it still troubles me. What jumped out at me was part of the development agreement that states landlord shall profit and any with other developers 50% of the net profits from from Hinchcliffe Stadium. Now, we're giving over $7 million to the developer as part of the developer fee. The developer also has use of that stadium for profit-making items throughout the year other than 180 days. And as my friend did explain to me, during that wintertime period, of course, there's not gonna be a whole lot of things going on at that stadium. My problem was some of the questions I asked last night were never answered. They looked and they said a few things and moved on. What the mayor's mistake was, one, going to Kennedy High School to have a town meeting and nobody there. He came there to show the support that he had for this project. But there were so many questions asked from the supporters that were germane to this project. When you use us for your political purposes, I get a little ticked off. I've watched this project and also the project on Ward Street, which we will be talking about very quickly, of that shady deal. The mayor has to understand, from my understanding, that he's going to bypass this council and go straight to the state. I advise him tonight, do not make that monumental mistake. If you bypass your council, the little bit of support you have on it, you're going to erode it and it's going to leave you. We need a mayor now to act like a mayor. The project down by that stadium, which I support, and I've been supporting for 30 years, the drug use, the prostitution, the dirty streets need to be cleaned up first. We need a mayor. We need a mayor to start going down the street right in front of this building here. And the drug use, and the sleeping on the streets, and the panhandling that's taking place on a day-to-day basis. He needs to ride down Van Houten Street. When more prostitution goes on there, they work in shifts. I don't need a mayor that's doing photo ops and all types of other things other than governing this city. I'm not mad at the mayor, but the same way I questioned Joey Torres throughout his tenure, I'm questioning some of the things that's happening with this mayor. I'm going to take a few minutes here to say this. If the mayor wants full support for his project, he better not bypass this council, because every project he brings forth will be scrutinized. If you have a problem with the city council, you sit down. When he sat in that seat over there, he was a council person and worked with his colleagues. All of a sudden, he no longer can do that. Well, Mr. Mayor, stop the backroom deals. Stop working in the shadows and in the darkness, and be upfront with this council and the people that elected you. I didn't support him, but I supported him once he became mayor because he's our mayor. We need to have truth and transparency. He promised us last night transparency. I want to see it, and I want to see it now. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next speaker?
Yes, ma'am. Next speaker is Mr. Corey Teague. Mr. Teague?
Good evening, members of the council.
Good
For
evening.
those, I don't know if there's any sound on here yet. but
Ming, we don't have sound?
All right, so I did inform people on Facebook that they can go to my Facebook page that has been dubbed TTV. They can go there now and they can watch, I'll live stream, I'll offer my services until the system gets back up and running the way it's supposed to, free of charge, of course. Yeah, free, hey, first thing I wanted to mention is that it was very disheartening. We have a stadium, yes we do, and it's a historical site. It was very disheartening that it had to be dragged through the mud because of political pandering and playing political games. That's the real tragedy here. We do have a crown jewel there. That is a beautiful stadium. It needs to be fixed, of course, but the process that they were going about to do it was flawed. That contract was flawed. That lease agreement that they didn't even put forth, they weren't forthcoming with any of that. You had the assemblywoman there last night preaching about the stadium and think about the kids, but nobody wanted to open up the lease agreement and show the people the details in the agreement. Nobody in this room who owns a house would sign a mortgage without being fully aware of what's in that mortgage. Nobody in here would do that. You would, at all. There will be no closing until you understand everything that is required of you and everything that's in that agreement. Nobody in here would sign a contract with any company or organization without being able to fully vet everything in the contract, including the small print. None of us. We looked at a contract that had no dates on it. He had no dates at all. There was no requirement as to what day we're going to start, how long is it going to take us to finish the stadium, what date can the city council expect the stadium to be ready for the children to use it, none of that. We didn't even know whether he was going to do the apartments first or the stadium first. There's nothing there. How can you give away $40 million for such a vague, empty contract with language in there that had no specifics? I do thank the council for standing up tall. Most importantly, I thank the council president for coming after this administration and making them work on behalf of the people. That's why I'm supporting her for re-election as president of this council. That's why I'm supporting her, because I see a fighter in her and I see that she's ready to roll up her sleeves and fight to the dirt to make sure that no administration comes here and takes advantage of our people. I can support that.
Thank you.
I also want to say the mayor went through hell and high water and fought tooth and nail for this developer to come in here. And he hasn't said a thing about Jameek. Not a thing. Why couldn't we get a community meeting about what happened to Jameek? Why couldn't we get some phone calls and get some action and get some emergency meetings here in the chambers? Why couldn't we get some of that, Mr. Mayor? Could it be because Jameek met with you shortly before he died? That's why you were running around saying you had meningitis and he might have had it. There's a lot of things that the public doesn't know. A lot of things that the public doesn't know about this situation. No response is a response. Remember that. The silence is deafening. And Dr. King said once that there comes a time when silence becomes betrayal. So if you're a mayor of the people and you're trying to bring Paterson together as one, then it's time for you to sit down with Jameek's family and call an emergency meeting on that to get justice for the family, because we won't let up until Jameek gets justice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Teague.
Council President,
Yes.
my phone's been getting a lot of text messages about not being able to hear.
We already got that.
So I don't know if Ming is working on it. I just wanted to inform you.
Councilman, that's what we said before,
And
that,
it's still
and
not
we're going to
working, so-
continue, and we're going to
Okay.
continue, but we need to continue the meeting. Ming? Do we know when? Do we? Okay, very much. Thank you. Thank you, Ming. Thank you, Councilman Abdelaziz.
Next speaker.
Madam Clerk,
yes.
next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Miss Dorothy Martin. Miss Dorothy?
Council. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you.
Hope everybody's feeling okay today. I was thinking that we were going to have the developers here today. That's what we were told last night, that we would have, they would be here today.
Didn't understand why the mayor said that yesterday. There was no meeting set for today. So
But
I
that's what he told
apologize.
us.
I apologize, but I don't know why he said that.
Okay. Well, anyway, I was at the meeting last night, and there were many things, as Mr. Rucker said, that were just vague. There was nothing that seemed to, that stuck out and grabbed me about us. There's no us in these plans. There's no us. There's them and their plan. Not us, the city of Paterson, the children, or our profits. I'm not a great math person, but I can tell you what, 7,000 seats and 250 parks don't match. We will never make money with 250 or 275 parking spaces and some housing with people all around the stadium complaining and hollering and the police screaming and yelling. What kind of a stadium is that? I've been all over. I have relatives. I have babies. We got so many babies that played baseball, basketball, football, and every other kind. I've been to stadiums all over New Jersey, and I have never seen a stadium that didn't have enough parking or quite a bit of parking and not a whole bunch of houses crowded around it so that they can complain about us. We've been hearing nothing but complaints about us for a long time. Most of them are unwarranted, really, because where we live and how we live makes a difference about what we do. So I believe that when these plans are made available, and they should be made available to everyone to see, I believe we're not going to really agree with all of the plans. I agree that we need to have this done, yes. But I don't agree that we need to come down from what we should have for any developer anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, next speaker.
Yes, Madam President. Next speaker is Ms. Bracy, Regina Bracy.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
How are you? I guess you know I'm going to speak about Hinchcliffe too, but I am. You know, it's disheartening that we were at a town hall meeting and we weren't privy to an agreement from the schools or the contract that they proposed to the city for the tax credits. Now, I don't know a lot about tax credits, but I'm pretty sure before I leave here tonight, I'll have it figured out. But one thing I'm gonna say is that I supported the mayor. Yes, I did. And I still support the mayor. But one thing that I said at his inauguration was that I support the people first. And that I wasn't gonna always agree with him, because if we support you, we're supposed to be your balance. And you said that you needed our help. And I think that this is one of those times where you need the people's help. Because one thing I know about Paterson is that we're very valuable. And our stadium sat empty for 20 years. And we maintained that. So why would we just give it away and not make a profit from day one at 100%?
That's right.
Because we're putting the most to the project. And when I looked at the funding that they were leveraging, because I write grants too, you know, I looked at the funding that they were leveraging. And most of the funding was other governmental programs. So what makes the project so special that we got to give it away? I would like to see the council and the mayor, maybe the cabinet, because those are the people who we elected in. Each one of your wards, the city collectively, we voted all of you in because we felt that you were the right fit for the job for this season. But remember, all seasons change. And we are paying attention. And we would like to see you guys work together because we feel as though you're competent enough for the job. We feel as though the mayor's competent enough for the job. We feel as though each one of the cabinet members that were selected is competent of the job. But the disconnect comes at is, who are each one of you doing the job for? Is it for us, the people who voted you in, who are being forced and faced with high market rent every day? I'm seeing children and families crowd up in apartments because they can't afford a $6,000 move-in money. But I had to see a plan last night where we want to build these luxurious houses around Hinchcliffe Stadium, where they are going to complain about the noise. I grew up as a child up into the 8th grade with that stadium open, getting cut by the fiberglass seats. I know. They're gonna complain about the noise, so why put more houses there? But if we wanna build a nice stadium and a nice project, right? How about we claim eminent domain? Build some parking. Open our stadium. I think that's worth $40 million. And then we make 100% for our schools. We don't have to lay off over 200 teachers. The taxpayers don't have to get a 14.1% tax increase. We balance our scale a little and we're not so dependent on the state.
Can you please wrap up?
That's all I have to say.
Okay. Thank you. You've made very good points. Madam Clerk,
Yes,
next
Madam
speaker,
President.
please.
Next speaker is Ms. Dot Martin. Dot Martin? Take it out? Okay. Ms. Linda Galashaw?
Ooh.
Good evening. I'm going to talk
Good
on
evening.
a couple of different points this evening. One, I agree with the mall that, I agree with the stadium protesters that were here tonight that we don't have a good plan, and the whole thing has been somewhat of a rush, and we need to back up and reconsider some things. I was really surprised to hear that it included housing also when we have such limited parking. The other issue I want to talk about is the rent here in Paterson. When will we get the rent leveling board really in place to do something to address the problems we're having? I'm working with a number of seniors that are being misplaced. Some are forced to leave Paterson after being a resident here more than 50 years. We were at the Freedom Village, and we were told that the minimum rent is $1,032, and you must have an income of $32,000. Now, if we look at that, if someone has worked a good amount of time and had an income of $52,000, once they retire, the most they'll have is $36,000. So how do we expect our seniors who are long time retired, we're talking 70, 80 years old, that didn't have the capability to make $50,000 a year, how can they afford that type of housing? Where is low-income housing for our seniors? That needs to be addressed. We're still fighting things that are going on that are not pleasing to the seniors at Freedom Village. I don't understand how the computer room has been shut down. The pool tables have been removed. How's this happening? The rent was sold to those seniors with those amenities, and now they've been removed. I don't think that's right. And I don't know why the Fourth Ward is not addressing that. I spoke to Mrs. Cotton about it, and she said that she was going to look into it. I'm just waiting to hear what is the cause of that, because those things should be replaced. If outside family is using the facilities, then fine those that you find using the facilities. But to take it from every one of them after they're paying that much rent, I don't think that's fair at all. And I want to talk about these little hats that the mayor has been handing out. Myself was a great supporter of Mayor Andre Sayer, and he has turned out to be very disappointing, very disappointing. He's handing out these little hats called deputy mayor to the black community while he's handing out real gifts to other communities. We are being suckered. We are being suckered over a title that comes with no money. It's no real power, it's no real position. But he's buying us for peanuts. I think he probably got straight A's in black history. He learned how to hit you right at the hip. I'm calling him out. I'm tired of the camera shots. You can be at any event in a flash, but you can't be where the crime is. You can't be where people are on the streets sleeping and taking down our community. Something has got to be done for real, and I want the black community to start addressing that. Start asking for your portion. We're entitled to it too. The mayor talks about 1 Paterson, it's becoming 6 Patersons. Each council person is pushing for their own ward. Where is the 1 Paterson?
Thank you very much. Ruby? 30 seconds, Ruby, please.
But yeah, thank you, Council President. And Ms. Galashaw, I remember you had called me about that, and I was looking into that, and some of the stuff that I heard, I don't want to say on television. You know, I'd rather talk to you in private than to put it out there on TV. I always was not for Freedom Village because it had 3 components in there. I didn't like building a building with 3 components: Section 8, senior housing, and the private piece, which is 1/3 of each. So those that are in the other part, and I said what happens is that someone who's paying $1,000 a month lives next door to someone who's paying $150. So then they start disagreeing. But I did look into the other thing about the pool tables, and I'm not going to say it on television. They do have a new regional manager out of Philadelphia from Penrose, and I will have a sidebar conversation with you, Ms. Galashaw, about Freedom Village.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Cotton. Mr. VP.
You're so kind, Council President. I just have to make a point. You know, Ms. Galashaw pointed out the fact that the 4th Ward isn't addressing it. I think that Councilwoman Cotton, and I know it wasn't meant in that fashion, but just want to go on record, because Councilwoman Cotton, it goes extremely hard for her residents. But we have to make sure that we're pinpointing where the issues are. When you bring in a third-party developer who then takes 300 plus so vouchers, they're getting HUD financing, they're getting RAD agreements, they're getting all these subsidies to build housing. We just tore down projects only to allow people to build them back all over the other parts of the community. I'm hoping that you guys are also at the Board of Commissioners meetings for the Housing Authority. And that's where these issues need to be addressed. They're allowing these situations to go through without considering our community members. And the case of Fifth Avenue being sold for $1.4 million for 17 acres is another example of how we're being taken advantage of. So to add to your point, thank you, Council President, for a moment, but it's not the council who doesn't have the wherewithal to address all of these issues. There's various members in the community departments that are running amok, and that's an example of one.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Thank you. Madam Clerk? Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Sorry. Yes, Madam President. Next speaker is Murad Savain.
I'm sorry, the name?
Murad Savain. He's coming. He's there. Mr. Savain. What you were saying, his name was not in here.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How you all doing this evening?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Good evening.
Okay.
Can you hear me better? There you go. Recently, back in 2018, a factory was sold behind me. 17,000 square foot factory with a 20,000 square foot parking lot. This guy went in front of the Board of Adjustments with Alan Mariconda back in the 10th of October of 18. He brought in all kinds of stipulations where the hours of operation, what kind of machinery he was going to bring in, and how he was going to set the building up. Your Board of Adjustments brought in one building and set it up with this guy, and he shut down another operation, which is my operation, with all my employees that have left. He has vibrated my ground day and night. The stipulation from the board was that he wasn't supposed to be open on Saturdays. And he came vibrating my grounds, vibrating my building, putting toxic odors into the air. Hours of operation, 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We finally had the police involved. Glenn Torrey finally sent him a letter. I called up Glenn Torrey. He refuses to talk to me. I don't know why, but he refuses to talk to me. I've been coming around my place in the mornings, 5 o'clock in the morning. The machines are on, the grounds are vibrating, the odors are in the air, and noise is going from 2 blocks away with the cyclone separator. Last Monday, I had called up the Paterson Police Department at approximately 6:10 in the morning. It's all on recording. A police officer didn't come until 8 o'clock. So I had to hire an assigned officer to come in at 4:30 in the morning and wait for the machines to go on at 6 o'clock in the morning. And the neighbors are coming up to me and asking me, Dave, what are you doing there at 6 o'clock in the morning? And I'm telling everybody, I ain't doing nothing because I'm not even there. So I finally got there, and again, he's vibrating the grounds at 6 o'clock in the morning. The neighbors are coming up to me and asking me what's going on, okay? The guys put 41 criminal charges on me.
Council President.
Wait.
3 criminal charges on me for illegally trespassing on his property, disorderly conduct, and harassment, to talk to him nicely to correct his problems. But he refuses to correct any of the problems, and he puts me in a box and criminally charges me. I have everything in the
Okay,
in the
Mr.
briefcase.
Dave, let's not discuss that piece of it. Your time is up, and I know you sent me an email. I read it, all right? We definitely, Mr. BA, these are things that we need to address specifically because of what he is alleging in terms of what I'm hearing and what I read, a violation of, I guess, the terms of the Board of Adjustment approvals, where when they approve a business, you know, they give you certain times, you have to put in a certain time when your business is gonna open and close, and so I think these are things that need to be addressed, but if we could do a sidebar so you can, Mr. BA, we have our constituent services here as well, because there's an enforcement issue here.
Council
Okay?
President.
One moment, Councilwoman.
Well, there's
Okay.
also toxic odors that are getting
Well, that's
in the
another,
air.
and we need
there's
to
times
have
I have to shut
community
down my business and
improvements
go home.
Okay, so that's why I want us
Right.
for you to speak to the BA, because community improvement, actually, do we have a director here? Yes, he is, right back there. So we'll be addressing those issues, okay? I know that you said you wanted to come and put it in the record as you have today, but I really do want you to have a sidebar with our BA.
Can I have them right now?
Yes.
I was
Councilwoman
just-
Cotton?
Yes, I have spoken to you several times, and I saw you on Saturday when we was doing the smoke detectors. You was in your car lot on Saturday morning, roughly around 11 o'clock. I have walked up and down that neighborhood and no one has said nothing yet, but I just wanted to stop you because I know now, I stopped over there to that business and you guys are in court.
Right,
And I don't
that's why
want
I don't wanna
something.
discuss.
Right, no, I wanted him to understand that this segment is being taped and you are in court now with this company. So, and you're gonna talk to to our BA to see what's going on, but I didn't want you to go to, but I was over there Saturday, and like I said, I walked up and down that block, several blocks. I got
Councilwoman,
16 Lawrence, I got all of them over there.
Councilwoman?
And I got all your emails, I got all your messages still on my phone. I have not taken them off.
Councilwoman?
And so, no.
No,
Wait, Council
Councilwoman.
President. No, but you're gonna talk to our BA and tell him what the situation is. I'm not sure what the charges are. Well, both of y'all brought charges against each other. So
Councilwoman.
we'll see. That's all I want
Thank
to say.
you.
We'll talk to them.
Thank you very
That's
much,
right.
Councilwoman. You don't, sidebar with our BA, okay? Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Madam Clerk, next
yes.
speaker, please.
Yes, ma'am. Next speaker is Mr. David Spongian.
Who?
David Spongian.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Sorry.
My name is David Spungen. I'm only a 2-year resident of Paterson.
Okay.
And so I don't have any of the history that many of you have spoken about. But I've made an investment in Paterson myself. You only need to look at my tax bills to know that.
Wow.
Thank you. But one of the reasons I came here was because I believed in the potential of the city and its renaissance. It looked to its past to build on to its future. Hinchliffe Stadium is a National Historic Landmark. The U.S. government has proclaimed that it possesses national significance in commemorating the history of the United States of America. Yet here it sits with no purpose, with no tax revenues, with nothing. Everyone in this room knows it's a very complicated situation. And in fact, in 2010, Leonard Zaks, who's the president of the Hamilton Partnership, said that resurrecting Hinchliffe would be more difficult now than it was to build the iconic stadium back during the Great Depression. So it should come as no surprise that after 22 years of laying dormant, that it took a special set of unique circumstances to breathe life back into this project. And at the core of all this are these tax credits that go away at the end of next week. But that's what breathed the life back into this and the potential of bringing Hinchliffe back into the community. The council is on record 9-0 in support of the concept of Hinchliffe Stadium being renovated. There's no dispute. But yet last week it voted 5-4 to reject the Hinchliffe lease extension, which should be a part of the city's application for the tax credit. Now, I've heard that some members were bothered by the process, and they felt there to be a lack of transparency. I've heard that in this room tonight. I've also heard that when the mayor decided to call a special meeting, that there was offense taken by the council. I read a quote that said, how dare he disrespect the municipal council that way. I'm here to say that as a Paterson citizen, I feel an element of disrespect because I don't feel that there's ever been an honest discussion about the merits of the proposal in front of the city council. As for transparency, back in April, I attended a meeting with maybe 5 other people that was conducted by the National Historic Preservation Committee, where there was a complete presentation made, and the tax credits were also being discussed. And I didn't know I had gone that long. But But when the mayor scheduled, so let me just finish, I'm sorry,
You can wrap
by
up.
saying,
You can wrap up.
thank you very much, because I'm almost done. The idea that the mayor was possibly using this emergency situation to go forward with this, well, I know that that could be a problem. But what I ask you is, after 22 years as a dormant, useless facility, why is there an objection of taking the shot to see if this tax credit can be approved? Is it because there are so many other developers out there knocking on the door saying, please give us a chance? Where were they over the last 22 years? They've had plenty of time to figure that out. So now there is finally a path through the tax credit that could make some great economic sense for Hinchlif's rehabilitation. Is passing on that opportunity constitute an emergency? I've never spoken to anybody who participated in a Hinchliffe activity, sports event, graduation ceremony, that hasn't felt it to be a special moment in their life. Is it an emergency that there may never be another generation of Patersonians to have that experience, to know what it's like to own a piece of history, something tangible, to create pride in their city, to be a part of the community, committed to taking a leadership position in race relations? So let me conclude by respectfully asking that you reconsider your position to take another vote about the lease extension. That's not an approval of the project. It's giving the project a shot. And then if you can give them that, and fortunate enough to get it approved, find common ground with the administration. Work out a deal so that you can monitor all the objections that you've got about developers. But right now, there is no one else stepping up to the plate. Here's your chance.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Spungen. And this is not, Mr. Spungen, I'm going to address you quickly, and there's no rebuttal here, but as you said, no one's knocking on our door. No one was given an opportunity. Okay, there was no RFP given. Okay, this was handpicked. The administration picked who they wanted to do this redevelopment. There's no rebuttaling. I'm just sharing with you because you're saying that nobody's coming knocking down our doors and they were not given the opportunity. The other thing as well is that if you had all of the numbers and the intricacies of this project, I am sure that you would not be standing there defending it, okay? It's about the people of Paterson, and we were elected, okay, to make sure that the people of Paterson are protected, okay, and it's taxpayers. So I just wanted to just say that I would be happy to sit down with you on a one-on-one and explain all of the things, and then you would say, something is wrong with this project. I want to see, and just to correct you, the tax credits do not expire July 1st. There has been an extension. I got a call from the state. They're going to be extended, so therefore, we have the opportunity to make it right, okay?
That's right.
Thank
Council
you.
President.
Thank you. Okay. No. I told you there's no rebuttal. I apologize. Because first and foremost, it's the same thing that I would say to the administration. Why did they wait? Why did they wait to the 5th hour to move forward? And now, after we voted it down, give us a lease agreement. Thank God we voted it down, because we were able then to get, I'm sorry, not the lease agreement, but the redevelopers agreement. And thank God that we got it after, because we were able to look at it and say something's not right. And even yesterday's presentation even gave us more information than we didn't have that was alarming. Alarming, to say, by far alarming. And so, you know, we can't talk about, it's about the kids, okay? But you're making $8 million in a redeveloper's fee. We can't say it's all about the kids, all right? We can't say we want affordable housing in an area that right now we're trying to revitalize and redevelop. That's not, bringing in low-income housing is not the correct way to do it. So there's a lot of things that are wrong. And just like Ms. Bracy said, I mean, something is wrong when you're talking about a project and you're saying, you know, 7,000 seats and 200 plus spots of parking. So there's a lot of things that we consider that we should have a say as a council. So do we want to see Hinchliffe? Absolutely. Hinchliffe will come back, okay, but it has to be done right.
Council President.
Councilman Velez?
Mr., I don't know, he stated his name was?
Sponging.
Okay.
Spungen, Mr. Spungen.
Mr. Ponzi, sorry, I'm an individual that, the protocol of this council in the past, the protocol on this council and the ethic that we use, I sit back in that seat where you were sitting there, almost 500, 600 meetings before being council member. And every time I used to come to that podium, I used to state Louis Velez and the address and where I live. To people who know, when I reference where you live and this and that, probably I could Google the address. You mentioned that you moved here 2 years ago. We're here probably 32, 30 years before you. But you said, hold on, sir, I'm just going by your statement.
No, Mr. Spungen, there's no rebuttal when a council member is speaking.
Yeah, I'm just going by your statement. The reason I say this is because in the moment that you say your name and you say that you moved 2 years ago and then you paying a lot of taxes, that I could look at your tax bill, I didn't know that address, so I could Google it right away, how much you pay in taxes, where you live, and what property you have, to be able to talk about it. Now, the thing is that when you stand there and you go by an article, okay, a news article, okay, and trying to say that we are the one holding this development to move forward, or any project that the mayor want to put forward, hold on, with your statement probably leads to that. But I would just want to let you know something, sir. When you want to pay for watch a boxing event, right? And if you go to put it first round and they knock your guy down, you're not going to enjoy your fight. You say, I pay with no reason. Now, in this case, we want to have the right fight, but when the taxpayer asks why we voted that way, we could have him an excuse and the right facts to move forward a project in the city of Paterson. This administration, without no remorse, I gotta say it, they started backwards. And we cannot start in this city moving forward, starting backwards. All the information coming down the drain is because we've been putting a block for more information. If we don't put that on the table, they never gonna give us information, and then we cannot give it to the right person that are the one that requested it, or the constituent that voted for us for this chair. That's all I just want to say.
Thank you very much.
Very quickly.
Thank you very much. Councilman Jackson? Councilman Jackson?
To the gentleman, I know you said you have a short period here, so I want to bring a few items to your attention. And I take my hat off to the collective, the council, for being learned council members, because most people sit on that side and they request to get elected, but they don't really understand the nuances of what's going on until you get here. But the council's made very many mistakes 2 years past. I'll give you just a couple. Pennington Park, the top Pennington Park. We redid the field. There was a concession stand built there. They built the concession stand the wrong way, where they put the concession stand on the street side, so young children going back and forward to the concession stand are now near the street, as opposed to being safely near the field. That's one mistake. If you go to any neighboring towns, they don't have those types of mistakes. The backstop. The backstop doesn't meet certain regulations, so we cannot play statewide and national championship games there because of the way the design of the backstop was made. Go down to the bottom of the field. Pennington Park. We have a lacrosse field. We have not one lacrosse team in this entire city, but yet we have a lacrosse field. When I spoke to the director of recreation, he said he was never consulted. So certain administrations make certain decisions without consulting with various parties, and that's what the balance of council and administration is. It's the checks and balances to make sure the small nuances are caught. A few years ago, we spent $1.4 million on a trailer. The council has now learned from that mistake. We didn't make that same mistake twice. We've even had new additions to the council to come on board to make sure that Buckley Park got done. On the agenda for that evening was a power washing bill to power wash City Hall for $350,000, but yet now, based on the council's directive and the council's consistent paying attention to meticulous detail, we now have a new field at Buckley Park. I'm happy the council did that. There's various decisions that the administration may make that may not be in the best interest of the community for various reasons, whether it's politically driven, whatever the case might be. The balance between council and administration is put in place for a purpose. So to negate that and say that the council had no authority or no right to say they felt disrespected because the process was mitigated is unfair, because the council is here for the checks and balances. And I can go on with lots of other mistakes where half of the roads were paved, or they're right here on Memorial Drive. We have a travesty where one lane has been there for 3 years because of a mistake made by the former administration. The council has to be the checks and balances. And I think the people's council president said it best. The people elected the council members to do that. If by any chance, 7 years down the line, this deal goes through, and the community then begins to see, like many community members are now coming to the table, seeing things differently, guess who they're going to blame? They're not going to blame the administration or other members of the public. They're going to blame the council. So I'll rest it there. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Thank you. Councilman Rivera, please. Councilman, you can't do that, sir. You cannot speak over. Councilman Rivera.
Yes, so we were presented with a lease. We were elected to make informed decisions on behalf of the people. And we were presented with a lease that didn't provide us much information. It was just a lease, and we're fortunate in this city that although we don't have a say the way these tax credits are set up, with the parking authority being the redevelopment agency, this was a tool that we had, this lease, to make sure that we could hold the administration accountable, at least with this one project. What is disturbing is, we've been asking for information, and the more information we get, the worse it looks. And that's disturbing. Some people attended a meeting yesterday. Actually, supporters of this administration attended a meeting yesterday, last night. And they asked questions, which no answers were provided to some of the questions. So I understand, you know, if you haven't done your research and your homework, yes, we all want to see the Hinchcliffe rebuilt, but not at the way it's being done right now and the way they're utilizing these tax credits. It's abusive what is going on here. It is abusive. And people got to realize what is going on. I just want to leave it at that for now.
Look, we can't go ahead and move forward and enter and just say, you know, let's do this deal with $1, okay? We can't allow that in this city. The city has already put close to $4 million, and in that redevelopment agreement, they should be reimbursing us for that. That's not part of it. There's so many things so wrong. And like I said, Mr. Spungan, I would love to sit down. I'll show you the numbers, and you'll say the council did the right thing. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Next speaker, please.
Yes, Madam President. Next speaker is Mr. Bob Connell. Bob, is he here?
Next speaker, Council.
Next speaker is Mr. Errol Carr.
Okay. Mr. Carr?
Paterson, New Jersey. Good evening, Madam President. Good evening to the council.
Good evening.
I'm here this evening to address one issue and to extend an invitation. So let me just start here. About a year ago, there was a noise ordinance in the city that if you're doing any outdoor activities or you're doing a political campaign, you could come to the council, to the clerk's office, you pay $30, and you get a permit for noise. Somehow, I don't know if it's from the state or it's just a local decision made by this council, the ordinance was rescinded. There is no more requirement for it. May 18th, rather, the Jamaica Organization of New Jersey, we're putting on a fish fry. And this fish fry was not in a residential area. In fact, it was in a commercial area. I did not know the level of the noise that was being made by the music. However, the police officers rode up on us. And she said, I'm going to give you guys a ticket. She never, engaged us in a conversation and said, turn the music down. Her first words to us was that she was going to give us a ticket. We spent half an hour with her trying to convince her, and we were not able to. She gave us a ticket. The problem is, this was on a Saturday evening, 6:30 in the evening. 6:30. I understand that the city needs money. But punishing people in this way should not be the way we approach it. My recommendation is simply this: bring back the noise ordinance. Increase the cost. Increase it. We were paying $30. If you want to increase it by $20. But we cannot victimize organization and people who want to have a little fun in their backyard, saying you can't make a noise. You can't have your music. If you're going to give us a ticket, then you got to tell me, you got to show me how this is measured, where we were in terms of the decibel, so that everybody can be comfortable. But we cannot victimize people this way. We need to, make an adjustment to it. I don't know if this is the purview of this council or it's the state, but please, whatever it is, we need to have this adjusted.
Thank you.
Quickly,
No, I got the answer for him.
She's the chair.
on July 6th,
I know what the answer is.
on July 6th, the Jamaica Organization of New Jersey will be holding its 6th annual Jam Fest at Eastside Park. We are inviting the entire Paterson to come out, because this is where you get the authentic Jamaica jerk chicken. All right? Jerk pork.
Festival.
All right, festival.
Which one is that? Mom?
I thought it was at
Escovitch
Councilman
Okay.
McCoy's house. Councilman
Alright,
McCoy, I
it
thought
will
you had
be
the
a fun
authentic
day
jerk
for the-
chicken.
Okay.
I'm getting confused here.
Fund them for the entire family, all right?
Okay.
There'll be a lot of things for the kids and adults alike.
Thank you very much,
Council President.
Mr. Carr. Councilman Abdulaziz says that he has his spot for jerk chicken, but I don't know.
That was at Councilman McCoy's house, but I guess that's not the
I
real
don't know, 'cause
stuff.
I got
that
my
day.
spot.
Council President.
Wait. One moment, please, council members. I know that Councilman Rivera asked for the floor, Councilwoman Cotton, and then Councilman Velez. Please make it quick. Councilman Rivera.
I just want to say something briefly. I want to get a report from the administration. Now, it is a year later. We took office last July. We still have the same situation. People are texting me at home, right? The public, not everyone could make it to the
Can't hear.
meetings. There's people that like to be informed of what is going on in city government, but they're not able to, to take part in what's going on because there's no sound. What do we need to do to get this fixed?
We're getting the messages.
We put the resources in place, from my understanding. If we don't have the staff to do it, then we need to maybe look into bringing someone in to just fix that, because I believe that's very important. I leave it at that, but we need to address that issue immediately.
Okay, thank you, Madam President, but I'm going to answer Mr. Earl Carr's question about the $30 for a loudspeaker permit. We passed an ordinance, we passed something in Health and Human Services that the state forced us to rescind. The state forced us to, not forced us, but the other law that we put in place rescinded that $30 loudspeaker permit. But we can revisit it, Mr. Kerr, when the reorganization comes back again, because it's at the end of the year, and I'm not sure who's going to be chair of Health and Human Services, because that's where it came under. Then we can revisit. And I know what ordinance it is that we rescinded that $30, so anybody could play music, without coming down here for a loudspeaker permit anymore. But we will revisit that. Whoever becomes chair of Public Health and Human Services, I will make sure we pull that. Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you very much. Councilman Velez?
Yes, I just want to address two things quickly. Mr. Urquhart, you're right. The $30 you don't need to pay for the application, that's a good thing because the nonprofits and anybody want to, you know, instead of going to the application, $30 is a good thing that happened for every organization, everyone doing out there for doing the parties and this and that. The ordinance states is at 12 noon up to 8 o'clock that you're allowed to conduct those type of activities in your backyard, et cetera, et cetera. But also the ordinance is specific, talk about the decibel. If the equipment is not available, the officer, the noise complaint officer, in this case will be an enforcer, it could be the police department, it could be the health department. If they believe that the radius that they listen to the noise is disturbing, they could issue a TCOP. Now, not because you have the ordinance says 8 to 12 that you could put it blasting all over, because if somebody calls and make a complaint, it's disturbing the neighbor, it's disturbing probably somebody is sick or whatever, and that's bothering them, the officer has to comply with that complaint. The courtesy, I don't know, is up to the officer. We don't get into that. But sometimes people say they have it low and you could hear it 2 blocks away. And this and that. But regarding this, and Flavia just said it, regarding the, and I just want to inform the president too. I know that Mr. Mean having a tough time up there because every time that the people don't have the sound at home, we receive the text. But I'm not bailing out Mr. Mean. I just had a conversation with Mr. Ryan Fortis about 2 weeks ago and told him about how we received the text regarding the sound, and he promised me that he was working on it. So Ryan, please keep your word, work this fast, because between you and the sound system is Mr. Mean and the council. So we want to make sure that he does it diligent and work it the right way.
Thank you very much, Councilman Velez. Councilman Abdelaziz?
Thank you, Council President. To the BA, this is more towards, I'm getting text messages about the sound also. I know we have our issue with Channel 77, but I do know the city has a Facebook page that they go live for press conferences and everything like that. I think this is a time where we should start streaming the city council on our Facebook pages. Get a YouTube channel. I work at high school graduations. The YouTube channel, if they can't hear anything, everyone has a smartphone. I think the city needs to adapt instead of Channel 77. Get the YouTube channel up. They should stream on YouTube, Facebook Live, so residents have other avenues to watch our council meetings. I think that should be something that this council could, we should look into that and have an official YouTube channel or Facebook.
All right.
Man, that's two
very good suggestion, Councilman. I look forward to working with you to set up our YouTube channel, okay? Thank you, great. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Yes, Madam President. Next speaker is Ms. Shanta Paterson.
Good evening, Paterson family, friends.
Just bring down the microphone a little, okay? Thank you.
Pardon my voice. Good morning, family, friends of Paterson, New Jersey. My name is Shanta Paterson, and I lost my voice. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get it right. September 9th, 2018, around 12:49, one officer came into my house. My daughter just left my house. I didn't go to church that Sunday. She went to go to New City Kids. She was 13 years old at this time to go fill out for her application to work. She got the job. I didn't get the chance to go to Georgia Butchers because they closed at 1. So I was going to go to C-Town. I had to, whatever real quick. And then the officer had to, you have to come upstairs 2 flights to my house. Now, I was dating Al Corey Majette. Al Corey Majette knocked out a police officer years ago. I'm gonna say exactly 17. He did 11 years already. The police, 2 years ago when he came home, plotted something on him, so he did 18 months for it. Now, someone, you know how they do the CIs or whatever it is, whatever, they plotted again. And now I'm facing 23 first-degree charges. When I got locked up, my daughter, Shantae Pipkin, following the wrong crowd, she got popped up and had a baby. The baby was born on Father's Day. She's a Mother's Day baby. She's very, very smart. The police beat me up Sunday, but I'm not here for that. I'm here because the police ran into my house illegally. 23 first-degree charges that I'm facing. And my daughter wasn't there, like I said. One detective, it was a police officer, he was about 4'11" with blue eyes. I know exactly how they look. You actually have to walk in and go through the living room and go through the kitchen and go around the bin and come into my room. My door was shut. He jumped. I was like, oh, what the hell you doing in here? Who are you and how did you get in here? And can you please get out? Show me a search warrant. What do you got? You're not even supposed to be in here. Like, I don't do anything, so how do you even get in my house? I look outside, it's like 27 police cop cars on East 18th and 9th Ave, 370 East 18th, apartment number floor, upstairs from the liquor store. I've been living there 10 years. Paying $1,200 rent, which she was a slumlord. But anyway, I'm here because of the police, and I got like maybe one more minute. Long story short is, it's a lot of stuff. As far as my first picture on Instagram, was with a chief of commission in 2015 who took me to the Trump numerous of times and picked me up in drug, like the 4th Ward, down the hill, drug area spots. Chief of commission would fly me out. Me and his brother, they would play, I was saying, like, sir, why are you spending $180,000 gambling? He says, shut up, I'm gonna give you $80,000 gambling right here. That was my first picture ever. My name was Tiffany to him. I'm not gonna tell you who he was. I said from Clifton in 2015. I also dated a very known lawyer, 4.5 years here, who's also just got married to a judge. I'm not gonna say his name. But due to the fact I was arrested for them 6 days, he came through and called my family and said, don't worry. Paterson is coming out. But people like Victor Cruz, who didn't give our kids a Nike Just For Me book bag. I have like 80 kids that I take to church that they save themselves. You know, I do things for the kids. And it's not right how they just abuse me and beat me up where I couldn't even see my daughter be born. And then they try to say I had coke and dope and crack and meth and or whatever, all this stuff that I don't even know. And my system had to go to a crazy house and walk from East Orange to Paterson to get to court. I'm so sorry because I know. To get to court on Monday, facing these 23 first-degree charges, to find out that the public defender messed up on Corey Majet's paperwork by them saying that I didn't sign a consent form when everyone knows internal affairs in it as well, but I'm sorry.
No, I know, ma'am.
I know it's a lot.
Your time is up, and it was...
Okay, and I also believe that the key to the city should go to the kids. It's 12 months.
Can I just...
6 months should go to each kid.
Ma'am, so let me just explain something to you. So, I just wanted to say that I wanted... Okay. Okay. So just so you understand, why we won't address you, specific as you put some stuff on record. No, and we can't discuss it because we will have to be careful. It's actually for your protection, okay? Thank you for coming here today and sharing. And if you have any complaints, you have our constituent services director, and also we have our BA here as well, okay? Okay, thank you very much. Madam Clerk, our next speaker, please.
Yes, the next speaker is Ms. Shanta Pipkin. Shanta Pipkin.
Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, my name's Shantae Pipkin, and I'm just up here to read a poem about Paterson, New Jersey, and it's about crime because, like, my friend, he died playing with a gun, and I don't even know why he was playing with the gun, but I'm just gonna sit up here and read the poem, and okay, it's called The City I Call Home. You wouldn't believe it until you see it. The city I call home floats on a crime we see on TV or maybe in the news. Only if we knew how many deaths there were, maybe we'll stop. Shades of violence, shadows of nonsense, but yet this is the city I call home. Okay, that is my finished. Anyways, I go to International High School, and basically my teacher, Mr. Rayat, he made me write a poem because I was sad that my friend died, and I didn't get to go to his funeral because I was in labor. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, next speaker.
Yes, Madam President. Next speaker is McCormick. I'm not sure of the first. Okay, person is here.
My name is Ajane McCormick. I came here with my family today, and I'm also going to read a poem. This poem is like about me and a hard time that I grew up with. I've been raped since I was 8, and I'm 16 now, and police basically told me it was my fault, so I also wrote a poem to, to bring and say it out loud, okay? So the name of my poem is called Pictionary. Your life is like a pawn, yet you can never win. You'll face a different opponent, yet they'll still have the upper hand. Treated poorly at the age of 8, when you're supposed to be out playing. Passed around like a pawn, but no one could see the pain you're receiving. Kicked around, ran over, bruised, beat. But it's cool, you're a big girl, wipe your tears, you're still not defeated. 13, walk home, walk straight, walk steady. Watch your back, cause he's watching. Look away, just for a second, he's got you. Run, run as fast as you can't hide from the boogeyman. Look left, you're 14, go to the library, read a book. Shh, stay quiet, walk away, and he won't look. You can scream, you can shout, but they're all gonna think you're just running your mouth. 15, all alone, heartbroken, cold from your own tears. Can you feel the shadow behind you? It's dark, your biggest fear. 16 is a new chapter, a chapter full of despair. You know there's a man, a shadow, but who's that girl behind the mirror? You can beat me up 1,000 times, but you cannot remake me, Pictionary. This was a hard poem for me to write because it's not just about, the police not hearing me out or not, helping me and putting these men and these boys that did this stuff to me behind bars for, the things that they did. It also, people around me judge me and bully my brother for the things that happened to me. And I just wanted to be come and have someone to hear me out to help justice with kids, not just like me, but people that are being bullied for the things that happened to them. And that's all I have to say.
Wow. It takes a lot of courage.
Council President.
Councilman McCoy.
Council President, could both of you just come to the
Two
podium?
young ladies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's you're very brave, very powerful statements, and we want to validate you and your value and your contribution, your intellect, your courage, and the strength that you have to give the statements that you give tonight, right? We want to let you know that we hear you. And we're not just going to allow you to say that and walk away. We're going to acknowledge what you said. I'm going to charge the BA to make sure that the director of police have a conversation with you tomorrow or as early as it can be arranged to hear your story. I think in the age that we live in, where the President of the United States can find himself on multiple occasions being charged of sexual assault on women is indicative of a society that has gone mad. You're a beautiful young woman, you're a strong young lady, and as this village and your elders, one of our responsibilities is to stand up and to protect you and to make sure that we extend to you every courtesy to grow and to blossom in the person that God has intended you to be. Tonight was very heart-rending. Mm-hmm. We feel your pain, not as a cliche, but as a responsible party. I'm a father, I'm a grandfather. I have 2 granddaughters that are growing up in this society. And what I'm saying to you is what I would like someone to say to them, is that no one has the right to violate you, abuse you. Society owes you everything to allow you in a space to grow and to thrive and to be the person that you were destined to be. This does not define you. This does not define you. You're a gift, and you should celebrate the gift that you are. And we'll have the director of police, no less, reach out to you. We know we have officers that specialize in this area of concern that can provide assistance and support and give you guidance. And we thank you for the poem. It's been recorded. You've expressed yourself well. I would want to reach also out to the superintendent of schools to know that you're in our public schools. We have guidance counselors, we have PERT team, we have psychologists, and so we have a lot of folk that we pay to make sure that young people are safe and secure and protected. And for you to have to use this venue to express that hurt, we have let you down. But we will not allow that to continue, and we stand with you today to say no more. No more. Right? Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Mr. B.A., if you can please, Madam Clerk, thank you,
Yes, Madam President, I'm sorry.
Councilman McCoy. Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am. Bilal Hakeem, Mr. Bilal.
Commissioner Hakeem.
Can I get a piece of tissue, please?
Let me see if I can find any.
I don't have
I'm
any.
just crying because of listening to these young people
Very heart-wrenching.
and what they're experiencing. Just need a piece of tissue so I can,
I don't have any, I apologize. I don't have any.
the first thing I want to say is, Hinchcliffe Stadium. I support it, like most people in this city want to see it, this renaissance to come back to life. I thank the gentleman who just moved here, for coming to the council, and although he didn't have a full scope of what has taken place, he was expressing because he wants to see, he shares that same sentiment. I went to the town hall meeting last night at Kennedy High School. The mayor needed to be ashamed of himself. And I wish he was sitting here. I know he's home in the comfort of his house watching, but he should be ashamed of himself to have a meeting like that. I went specifically because I wanted to hear, not that I thought that it was an authentic town hall meeting. Because if it was an authentic town hall meeting, then he should have called this body here. Remember the Faulkner Act that Bill Mason, may he rest in peace, he received the Trailblazer Award. Me being the third person in the city of Paterson to receive the Trailblazer Award, I found out, I wanted to know who was the first. It was him that sued the city of Paterson, so we have the Faulkner Act, so we have representation. The mayor did not present the documentation, the RFP. He didn't do that. And those people that are close to him, shame on you if you allowed him just to do that, because he's doing exactly the same thing that his predecessors, without naming them. So I wanted to put that on the record. You need to be ashamed of yourself. Don't call no more town hall meetings. Sit down with this here council and get it right. You didn't answer any of the questions, as Councilman at Large Flavio mentioned. I was so insulted after someone asked a direct question, will there be more meetings? Because people had so many questions. Is there room for more proposals? And he just went off in another direction, and I'd like to have a Big Mac. And I'm just dramatizing. That's the disrespect he showed last night. If I was a man of a weaker character, I would have snatched him in his collar last night to treat people that way at a public meeting. Broadway is still ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Coming inside the city of Paterson, outside the city, you have to see this here in the morning. And like these young ladies said, Listen, I'm working for the Department of Public Works, and I have to function as a security, a social worker every damn day. Running suburbanites, our own problems here, and the suburbanites are all over the place, shooting heroin early in the morning. They've taken over different places. I see. Some of you need to come and walk. I see because I move around the city, so I'm seeing this right here. But the moment one of them overdoses, they want to charge someone with murder. Handle that problem. My last thing, Jameek Lowry. It's been a lot of days since this young man was murdered. And I want to put this on the record. January 4th, which was a Friday, I was on my way to congregational prayer, as I go every Friday. I seen Jameek Lowry that day. Let me stop this here a minute. It's the call for prayer, and I'll be finished, Council President. I was on my way to congregational prayer, as I do every Friday. I happened to see him because he was my neighbor, and I used to counsel him as a young man bringing children. And he came and hugged me, big bruh. And I gave him a hug, gave him some positive words. The next day, the 5th of January, and I remember very clear, I received a message from a young lady, did I hear anything about someone being murdered down at Paterson Police Department? I didn't even know. I happened to see it, and it was him. I'm saying that Jameek Lowry is my son. He is your son. That boy was murdered. The lie of spinal meningitis, I don't have it. And I kissed him on his forehead, okay? And I didn't go to the doctor to go get no physical to check and see if anything is wrong. So I'm saying that we are going to, all these here people, all these here grand ideas of Renaissance, they need to know, maybe the developers need to know that, you know, we still have a question mark. Is every cop bad? No, everyone always asks that question. Well, we're saying to the good cop, point out those bad, rotten cops, because that was a dirty thing. That family is hurting. I cried, and I tried to stay away from this here. I was advised by my advisors. They have their legal team, stay away. But they have no legal team. And my ancestors and Almighty God has sat on me, and I'm not going to be quiet about this man. We need that matter resolved. The murderers of Jameek Lowry must be brought to justice, and the mayor need to get his behind in the room with this here council and get it right, because he's doing the same thing that his predecessors have done. Shame on him. Shame on you, Mayor. You should have your behind sitting right here.
Thank you very much.
January the 2nd, here in the city council chambers, someone asked about the rent leveling board. We'll be having the rent leveling board meeting here from 6 to 8. We're encouraging you to come.
What's the date? You said January.
No, I'm sorry, July the 2nd.
Okay.
2019 from 6 to 8. Bring your entire block.
Okay.
My item is affordable housing.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Yes, Madam President. Next speaker is Mr. Elvis Durham. Elvis?
Mr. Elvis Durham. Got to bring this microphone down. Okay. I came here to talk about the things that's going on in the city of Paterson. It seems like the mayor cannot work with $130 million. Someone like me, I would have like 5 projects working right now. But before I get into that, I just want to say, Council President Marissa Davia, thank you for standing up for the community of the city of Paterson. You surprised me. You are doing a wonderful job as Council President.
Thank you.
And God bless you, woman of God.
Thank you.
That Hiskip Stadium project, people don't realize Hiskip Stadium is built by the National Park. Did y'all forget that the Great Falls is a National Park? Or y'all just dumb? Hiskip Stadium is built by the National Park. It's built around the National Park. That's what I mean. It's built around the National Park. Okay. Anyway, it's not one national park in America that got apartment buildings. Whoever came up with that bullcrap idea, you need to go back to school. Every national park in America got retail stores, 5-star restaurants, and hotels. Now, hey, Andre Sayer, you smarter than that. I know you're watching this. You smarter than that. This is the dumbest idea you came up with. You could be smart and stupid too at the same time. You know that, right? Come up with something better. Now we got more time. We got a lot more time. Don't waste this money and don't waste the state time. And another thing, we got another project. Y'all keep forgetting about the other project. Center City Mall got a project. They want to build a professional arena and a hotel that's going to create jobs for the city of Paterson. We could do 2 projects. But y'all got to get Hiskip Stadium correct. Get a new developer. This other developer, I don't know who he is or who involved with this, but it's bull crap. And it don't benefit the city of Paterson, but it benefit their pockets. We need jobs here. Yes, we need recreation. We need job and recreation at the same time. So come to the table with a better idea. We got time now. Council President said we got time. Come with a better idea, because this idea y'all got is bullcrap. But the Center City Mall project is awesome. Run with that for right now. All the mayor got to do before July 1st is write a doggone letter. What's so hard about that, Andre Sayer? What's so hard about that? Write a doggone letter. Oh, Center City Mall project going to create over 500-something jobs, people. 500-something jobs. This arena is just like the Prudential Center. It's going to create an usher. You know how much an usher get paid at arena? $17.50 an hour. This is going to create jobs with benefits and insurance. Run with it. Use common sense. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you too.
Yes. Next speaker, Mr. Walter Staten. Mr. Walter? Not here.
Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker is Ms. Nikayla Mayo.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
The first thing I want to talk about is who do we go to when the Paterson police is violating rights, our rights, not my rights. But I'm gonna get straight to it. My brother just told me today, who was 16 years old, a minor, that he was walking to his friend's house to get his bike. When the cops jumped out on him in the alleyway and pulled out guns, frisked him, and threw him on the ground. I want to know, who can I go to about this problem?
Internal Affairs, just so you know, but also we can bring it to our director as well, but I know they're going to refer you.
You said to who?
To Internal
Affairs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever you have a complaint about a police officer, you go through Internal Affairs.
Okay.
Okay? You can keep.
No,
They said
that's it. I just
Okay,
wanted
so
to know
Mr.
because-
BA, just like, can you please get her information so the director of police can at least have a conversation with her to see what happened?
Yeah.
Time, get all the information. Have your brother, because he's a minor, can you please, Mr. BA?
Yes, he's
Okay.
16 years old. 16 years old.
Okay, Miss.
16, and I know some of y'all got nephews out here that's 16 years old. Come on now, these little kids. You out here frisking and pulling out guns on little kids?
Okay.
Come on now. I
Okay.
wish I knew who it was, because it'll be a bigger problem than what it already is. That's ridiculous. I know y'all got kids. Come on, y'all send these cops into our communities and they disrespecting the little kids. I'm speaking for the black teenage boys that gotta grow up.
Okay.
They shouldn't have to grow up like that.
Okay.
Psychological trauma from cops, racist cops, that y'all send into the communities.
Please give this
That's
information right now
ridiculous.
to the BA. He's waiting for you outside. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
And I hope the people watching this, we gonna fix our community. We gonna get this right. That's right. Period.
Madam Clerk?
Madam President, there is no more speaker on the public.
Okay, can I have a motion to close? Move to close the public portion by Councilman Velez, second by Councilwoman Mims. Roll call to close the public portion.
Yes, Madam President. Roll call to close the public portion of the regular meeting, June 25th, 2019. Councilman Cotton?
You sign?
No, I never, I'm 65 years in the city, I don't know how the routine is. I have something to say about the stadium. I think you should give me that choice.
Sir, I apologize. There was.
I don't know the routine here. I'm a resident for 65 years, third generation.
Okay, sir, you can't talk over just come to the microphone. Put your name into the record.
Yes, I'd like an opportunity to speak about
Move
this.
my
Okay.
motion.
Sir, you have 3 minutes.
Okay.
When the bell goes off, you have to wrap up.
Yeah, my name is Jan Barry Thomas. I'm a Patersonian, 65 years of age, third generation. I want to commend you guys for checking up on the stadium, what was going on. I was born across the street in 1954. I know everything about the stadium, including Paterson. I really appreciate you guys checking this all out. And Andre knows me well. I fight all the politicians all the time. I let them know where I stand at. I'm the one that called Joey Torres a disgrace to the city of Paterson. Also, Councilman Gal, that's a racist. I always stick up for the people in this city of Paterson. She knows me well. She knows me well. I want to say that that stadium is very important to the community. Very important. If anybody would want that stadium off the ground, it would be me, because I was born across the street. The Board of Education, what they did was they neglected the responsibility of taking care of that stadium and put it onto us, the taxpayers.
That's right.
The crime in that area, the prostitution, the garbage dumping, all this stuff. I want to see you guys go down here at 3 o'clock in the morning. You want to go down here? You need a loaded gun. Darren Bosch from the Great Falls knows me well, because when he came here 10 years ago, I had some meetings with him to put lighting around the whole Falls area, and he listened to me as a resident. I used to call him every week to let him know what was going on at the Falls. Drinking, drugs, a lot of problems that happen at nighttime. But I want to say this, that stadium is very important, not only to me, to the community. And I would like to know, that stadium, are we going to have any racing inside that stadium? Because there used to be race cars in that stadium. The guy from Libby's across the street from the railing company, he's waiting to get in there so he can race the midget cars. That was all about racing the stadium too. That's what we would like to see that back again in that stadium. I was just at his business the other day, at his place the other. He's a taxpayer. He's got a big company over here by Libby's. You know what I mean? He wants to put those cars back in the stadium. He's waiting for Andre to come back and give an answer. He's waiting to go in there to race. I think that's a great thing for the public, for the kids. That's what the stadium was all about. Not only that, was racing. So I'm a big advocate for that. That stadium means everything to me. If Andre's watching now, he knows that. He knows that. I fought for all the stuff for that stadium for years. I never came to the podium because I'm the guy that goes on the outside and talk to people. That's who I am. I want to commend you guys for checking up and making sure we, the public, don't get screwed again. Like I said before, I want Andre to come and let you guys know everything what's going on, and you guys can let us know what's going on. I think that's a fair shake, isn't it? We don't ask for much. We're asking this to do the job properly. We're all for, I think each and every one of us are for the stadium. We are definitely for it. Because those children, boy, that's going to be amazing for them. Just like the Falls was. When I was a kid going to the Falls, when I was about 10, 11 years old, that meant everything to me, the Falls. That was a big thing to me. You know, I can imagine the kid now. You know, like I said before, just do the right thing. That's all we ask for.
Thank you.
I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. I just want you guys to do the right thing. The other day when we had the memorial over there with Congressman Bill, I whispered in Andre's ear, remember, Andre, God is watching everything what you do. He's watching what you're doing for us. And don't think there's not a repercussion of if any deals or dirty deals are going on, because there will be a repercussion. You follow me? So I just ask everybody to all come together, make it work for all of us. Stop the crime, stop all the stuff in the city of Paterson. We're better than that. This city was built on labor. This city, my father went to the old school 5 over there on Total Ave, 1936. Now look at that building, it's a disgrace. The Board of Education disgraced a lot of things. They ripped the building down Bosco. All that money they spent, they couldn't spend money in the stadium?
Please make an effort to
Don't
wrap
you think
up.
that's fair?
I do.
I want to commend you guys. I had to say something. I never spoke at a podium. I never spoke here.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? I just want you to know how I feel. And usually how I feel is for the people, what they feel. Thank you, guys.
That's right.
Thank you very much. We agree with you, and we appreciate the sentiment.
Move to close.
Second.
Madam Clerk, moved by Councilman Velez, seconded by Councilman Philippe. Roll call, Madam Clerk, close the public portion.
Yes, Mr. President. Roll call to close the public portion. Councilwoman Cotton? Councilman Kalik?
Yes.
Councilman McCoy? Yes. Councilman Mims?
Yes.
Councilman Velez?
Yes.
Mr. President?
Yes.
The vote is 6 in favor, 3 absent. The public portion is hereby closed.